whenever the PTA comes in my office and they tell me their issues, Mindy always knows it's our issues. And I would have never had the power to basically be one of the board of directors of the state of Florida, because that's basically what we are, the 160 of us, unless, you know, a tragedy hit me. And I'll just, some of you don't know me, so I'll just explain to you what happened in my life. And I had 3 kids, and everything was great in my life. Moved down to Florida. I'm from Chicago, and dropped my daughters off at the movie, and the mall was right next door. Well, they were supposed to sit in the movies, but, you know, kids lie. Bless you. Kids lie, and that's the bottom line. And sometimes, I guess you just have to hope they grow up fast. However, for me, they didn't grow up fast enough. So they snuck out of the movie, my twins, and they met up with a guy named Nick Capertino. He was 19 years old, and there were 13 and 14-year-old girls. And then he said, hey, come on with us, we're going to a party. And he picked up, you know, these 7 kids, put them in the back seat of his car, a Honda Civic, and was driving 110 miles an hour in Boca, down Palmetto. Next thing you know, he lost control of the car. And the 4 ladies, they almost lost their lives who hit him. And they were all in serious and critical condition. And then in the back seat of Capertino's car was 7 kids in a hatchback. My daughter, Dory, she died in the crash. And my other daughter, and then there was one girl, Maribel, she's a quadriplegic. And then my other daughter, Emily, barely survived. And by that, I mean, she had fractured legs, she had 3 surgeries, she had road burn, she lost half of her tongue. And, you know, like, I remember that night clearly. I was running through all of the operating rooms. I was looking for my daughters. And then I finally found Emily with trees growing out of her nose and roots in her hair and everything. And then the doctor yelling at me, you have to get out of here right now. And I said, why? He says, your daughter's on a respirator and she's dying, and, you know, we're fighting to save her life. And so then I walked out of there and I walked downstairs, and I said, well, where's Dory, my other daughter? And the cop says to me, well, she's at gun club. And I said, what's gun club? And he says, it's the morgue. I said, what's my daughter doing at the morgue? He says, she's dead. And so, you know, like something like this, you know, like you never forget, you know, like this is like this happens to other people. It doesn't happen to Irv Slosberg. I was just a normal business guy, and I was running a successful business, and I had a lot of people working for me. It was a handbag business. And so I just, 2 years later, what I did was I said to the people who were working for me, I just closed the business, and I said, hey, guys, it's over. You know, like, hey, we've been working for you for 15 years, blah, blah, blah. I said, listen, I'm going to go figure out a way to save lives instead of making more money. Because I used to go to sleep thinking about how many people work for me, how many, you know, and now, what happened is I went to the Democratic meeting. I'm a Democrat, and I said to these guys, I said, hey, I'm going to be your representative. I'm closing my business. And they said to me, you see 200 other people out here in the audience, they all want to be the representative. I said, I'm going to be the representative. He says, we got one already. I said, what does that mean? He said, we got an incumbent. Incumbents never lose. You're not going to win. And I said, you'll see. And they said to me, you know, and I said to them, you know, you'll see. And then I worked every month for like eight months, and like, to make a long story short, it ended at one of the priests in Whisper Walk, where I was saying to him that he was saying to me, "You're going to go to jail," and I was saying to him, "No, I'm going to take your big desk away in Tallahassee." So I took his big desk away in Tallahassee. I won the election by like a quarter of a point, and then it's Irv goes to Tallahassee, and I was very focused on. Passing the seatbelt law, primary seatbelt law that's named in her honor, that you have to wear a seatbelt or you get pulled over. Unbelievable that we didn't do this before. I put up $35 million worth of guardrails. I used to go into Governor Bush's office every day and say one person passed away, another one passed away, because a lady came into my office and she said her son died in her arms. At the Lake Worth interchange, there was no guardrail. Somebody cut her off and boom, she's in the canal. And so I showed him every day, and at the end of a year, you know, I showed him we could have saved 200 lives. And so then he says, Irv, how much you want? I said, 35 million. And so we found it in the budget, we put it on the books, and now it's called the Alexander Ware Guardrail Memorial System. And you know, I added on $5 on a traffic ticket, and I drove around to the counties it took me 10 years, and we got it enacted in most of your counties, in 57 counties. What happens is, $105 your traffic ticket becomes $5 is held by the county commission. So let's say the county holds $1 million worth of these traffic tickets a year. They give it to the school board. The school board has to give it to driver education, and that's Eric's baby. And so that's how it works in 55 of the counties. So far, we've added $105 million. And, you know, the list goes on and on. I put on the books, if you can't see, you can't drive. In other words, you're 80 years old, you have to take a vision test. And then in rule, I put on, if you're shaky, we're going to test you. So the bottom line is I passed a lot of other legislation. However, you know, like, that's why I got my power. And I don't forget why I got my power. It's all in honor of my daughter, Dory. So as I got more powerful and as I came back here, this is my 14th year, or 13th year up here. And so as I got more powerful, I wanted to be on education committees. So the speaker put me on education appropriations. And I'm the only member on the education appropriations committee from Palm Beach County. And then I'm also on the choice committee, and I'm good buddies with Cortez, who just walked out, who has the bill that you know, because we don't get everything we want all the time. However, I go to Mindy and I say, hey, Mindy, what do you want Irv to do? And so basically, you know, like, I am there and I am here, besides road safety, I am there to listen to your leadership that tells me what to do, and including your next leader, right? Right. And so, like, you know, like, listen, you know, I understand why I got here. It was because of my daughter dying in a traffic crash. I would never have this power. And now I have to, besides road safety, I could do more for you. And so I sit on that. I sit on that education appropriations. I sit on the charter school. I know your list backwards, forwards, and upside down. So in other words, you guys have my ears. And I'm just glad to work for you guys. I love my job. And in case any of you guys ever want to find me or ask me anything, I'm on Facebook, Irving Slosberg, and I answer my own Facebook.